Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Zoom Into Wine. It's time for the show and your host, Ian Blackburn.
Good evening, everybody. It's 7 o'clock, time for Zoom Into Wine. My name is Ian Blackburn. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's a special session on some of my favorite wines of last year, the greatest wines of 2025. Just some really great stuff that we've been able to taste in the last year. One of the qualifiers is that it still has to be available for us, but there's plenty of that. We had so many great wines to bring into the store. And so I want to share some of these finds because I think a few of them are a little off the normal path. And I think I'm going to impress some of you with some of these, maybe because they're something you wouldn't have considered before, or maybe just because it's something really unique and a little different. And I've got a lot of stories to tell. So let's get started. We're going to get right into it. Our first wine is from the great island of Santorini. And I could tell last year that a lot of people went to Greece. They went to Greece, they ate somewhere special, and they drank some great Greek wine. Now, is all great Greek wine great? No. In fact, when they got started, probably the wines that we saw from Greece were the less expensive wines, because a way that a country can come into America is to kind of undercut the market. And there was still a hint of quality, but people weren't always that impressed with the wines of Greece. I got to tell you, that has changed rapidly. I'm not saying that there's not bad wine from Greece anymore, but the wines that I'm able to buy in today's marketplace are really compelling. And maybe fortunately or unfortunately, some of them aren't that inexpensive anymore. They know how good these wines are, and they know how, they're limited into how much they can make. And there does not appear to be, any resistance to the pricing that we see today, which I picked. There are several of these wines that I would have picked for this program tonight. Undoubtedly, I was looking for a great wine of Santorini to share with you, because I don't think we've shared much from Santorini, but just the number of very high scoring, lovely options that came in last year and blew through the store. Incredible. So this is one of the later ones that I just brought in. It's called Sigalas 7, and it's 7 villages. It's a little blended wine off of Santorini. They definitely make some more expensive iterations, but I think the wine that's over $100 got a point higher. So we're talking about a small island in the Aegean. Actually a little hard to get to, and it is a very premium destination. So premium, in fact, that we offered a trip to Santorini, but it was quite pricey. And I think it put a lot of people push back off on that pricing, because a hotel in Santorini will easily cost you about $1,500 to $2,000 a night for a decent hotel, and there isn't anything on the lower end. They just don't want that customer. And the island's too small. The transport there too infrequent. The restaurants and everything are very teeny. And the island really supports a very luxurious clientele. A magnificent place to visit. Sunshine. Everybody that lives on Santorini looks like they love the sun. And very natural path. A lot of old vine material. Really, they understand what they're working with, and there's a lot of things that they do to encourage wine quality. They may bury the vineyard or the vine into the soil, producing some sort of a round circular kind of a enclosure for the vine, because can be very windy as well. And that would ultimately be okay for the vine, except that it's sitting on sand, and blowing wind can be like a BB hitting the skin. So they protect the vines and the grapes when needed. Some exposures, some sides of the island don't have some of those issues. Sigalas, really small. I mean, small in that he owns a good amount of vineyard on Santorini, but he's not making any kind of like Mondavi size productions or anything. But it's a brand that you may have heard of before. It's a familiar brand, but that's because he's done a really good job for a very long time. The wine that we're tasting tonight is 100% Assyrtiko. Assyrtiko is the grape of Santorini, the white grape. There are a few others that can sometimes be involved in some of the blends. But if you're going to get Assyrtiko 100%, it's going to be a super premium wine on Santorini. And again, it is a very Santorini exposure. This is the most iconic grape on the most iconic spot in Greece. I would say they're much more famous for this white rather than the reds like Xenomarvro, which I also really like, but I am very partial. I don't know if I've told you this before, but I actually drink as much or more white than I do red. I think it just fits more into my lifestyle. Here's a picture of winemaker and family member, owner, operator, Perliss Sigalas. And he is really well respected. You can check out his windblown hair and his bird sitting out there on top of his chicken coop, I believe. That's a pretty nice place to be. Nothing on Santorini is very far from the ocean. Now there are vines that are planted right up to the water line, and those are the ones that are in the sand dunes, and they literally dig down and create like these little craters for them to live in. So here's a look at the Sigalas Santorini 7 Villages Epta Assyrtiko Santorini 2022. $80. I just love that nose. I could smell that all day. It's got that wind-blown sea salt, kind of punctuated apple skin, maybe even like blistered. It has lots of little apple components. Might even smell like a cider component in there. Getting a Thomas, I'm so happy you like it. Let me click into the wine. I want to see what some of the reviewers said, some of the verbiage. Razor sharp. Sadly, this wine was not made in 23 or 24 because of drought conditions and vine stress. And there just wasn't enough fruit available to make this iteration. Does make an estate Sigalas, or did. I haven't seen it for a while. And maybe that's the reason. And honestly, in places like this, which are really dancing on the extreme, sides, where you're going to have things happen on the extremes that make wine continuity a little difficult. 5% aged in amphora from Tuscany. That's kind of cool. And maybe that's where I'm getting that kind of that cider kind of thing. It's like a tart apple skin that I'm smelling. Just a hint of oxidation will occur through the amphora, much like a wood barrel provides oxidation. But wood can also pass on wood aromas, and he didn't want to hide the freshness of this grape variety, the sense of place, or bury it behind vanilla. I think this is absolutely fantastic. This is so screamingly good. if you could imagine just having like grilled, calamari with some lemon juice on top, or some really good fresh carpaccio, fish carpaccio, um, sardines. If you live on the wild side, I love sardines. I love, any kind of Mediterranean fish delight would be amazing. I'd have this with like olives and feta and some hummus and some pita, and just sit out and enjoy this all day long. Mm. Tig, you were there 30 years ago. Got it. Yeah. Wine quality has improved a little bit. And I just want to show you, we carry a pretty extensive collection. And, here's one that was 96 points from Sigalas. That's $116. I think it's, yeah, that amphora thing is maybe impactful on the higher one, a higher end one. I like it a lot, but it's also a wine that will maybe age even longer. And this wine is just ready for prime time, 2022. As you look across the spectrum, you can see different things. And to make this wine $32, they took right here, actually, Santorini AA Assyrtiko. They blended the wine to get it down to $38.95. Also really good, really good. A little lighter, very bright, but really good. And I would recommend any of them. I really do. And this is the red, by the way. Mavro Tragano.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I got more. So Arigos has some awesome stuff as well. And then they made kind of a lighter weight one as well called it Atlantis White for about $30. Again, a blend. Here's one for $150. That is a Assyrtiko. And I love having these because these are quite a big throw for, very few retail stores in the city of Los Angeles have the selection that we have, and that's cool for me. So I'm leaning into it, including this Tionios, which I usually have their $190 bottle of Assyrtiko. I only got 6 of them this year, and I had them in the store for like 3 days. This guy is cult level stuff, and this is the red. And I bet you I only have a bottle or 2 of this left. 4. Okay, so the people are willing to throw down on these wines, and at the high end, because the experience can be magical. And I hope you enjoyed this. At $80. I think it's a winner. Wine number 2, Alma Rosa. The reason I am including this wine in the mix, Alma Rosa 2022 Chardonnay, best-selling Chardonnay on our website. I ordered that 6 times, and in large quantity, and we continued to sell it. And it wasn't one customer; it was 3 bottles here, 4 bottles here, 6 bottles here. That's what this wine is. This is a great ambassador for Santa Rita Hills. I know a lot about this brand. I love it. And let's get into this quote unquote new vintage in Santa Rita Hills. Richard, the founder of Sanford Winery, Richard bought about a square mile of vineyard land in the Santa Rita Hills. And he is now the ambassador of this brand. When he sold Sanford, he sold the brand Sanford, but he didn't sell all the vineyard. He held on to his vineyard holding. And this particular winery benefits from one significant vineyard, um, Halima is what it's called, and it's the square. It's literally a square mile. It's not all planted, obviously, but it's a square mile of land with quite a bit planted on it. And when Richard retired, uh, Samra took over as the winemaker, and she comes from, very interesting background and world, and was a consulting winemaker working with Thomas Rivers Brown and up in Sonoma, and then came down and was offered the job as head winemaker here at Almarosa. She has been awarded like best young winemaker, best new winemaker. Almarosa went through some pretty tumultuous times as when Richard Sanford sold Sanford, uh, things were a little tough on him. He got in some pretty upside down financially. He uh, took some big bets. Not all of them paid off, and so he needed some help. And he got some financial support with Almarosa. It's very stable now. Samra's really helped level the decks. The wine's better. They've moved their tasting room location. They did some really smart things. Here's the big thing that they did. They got rid of all the contracts. They were selling fruit and then buying fruit to make Almarosa. What were they doing? So they decided to get rid of the contracts, take the fruit back for themselves, and now all of Almarosa's wines are basically coming off of estate. And I say it that way because 23 may or may not be 100% right there, but in 24 it is, and it'll say estate on the wine. Even this wine right here will be an estate Santa Rita Hills Chardonnay, and the winemaker said that this one is like one barrel away from being there. But it is basically an estate grown Chardonnay. Now, the Halima Chardonnay sells for $100 a bottle, and the Pinot Noir, the kind of the same thing. This one's quite a bit more on the practical side, and I do reward wines once in a while for, if everything's expensive, then what do you end up drinking every day? This is like one of my favorite go-to Chardonnays for. It's a little higher end for everybody for daily, but I don't drink a whole bottle every day. Might have a glass or even a half glass with dinner. I Coravin it and I use it pretty frequently. And this is even going to be featured in some of my classes because that's how much I like this wine. And I really want people to access this style and see how stylistically it's pretty different from what a lot of people think of as California Chardonnay. So this is a very sustainable site. Most of it was planted in the early 1980s. Not all the slopes are optimal for planting grapevines, so they just take advantage of the right facets. But it's very natural, very sustainable. Regenerative is kind of the farming direction that they're going in. This is a look at the label for the El Habali. That's the name of the single vineyard. El Habali. That's the name of the single vineyard, and that's their $100 iteration. I'm not sure if we have that currently in the store. I definitely have it in the Pinot Noir at that level. But in Chardonnay, I don't, not at this moment. I'd say the style is really like aligned very well with almost a Chablis kind of style. Not very oaky, nice tension, real clean, kind of crunchy, crispy, fresh. Let's take a look at it. There is Samra Morris. She is the winemaker. Smarty pants. This woman's really talented. Working for, you don't get a job easily for Thomas Rivers Brown, and she can fill a room with laughter and sunshine. She just really has it. and I'm sure she impresses everybody when she meets them. So if you get a chance to get out and go to a dinner with her, I think you'll really love what she's bringing to the table. Nothing is ugly in Santa Rita Hills. It's all beautiful land. Really, Santa Barbara's, it's a little cliche to say this, but it really went from being like our local wine region to one of the best wine regions in California. It really is. And especially when you focus on what they do best, which is Santa Rita Hills Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. Now you're getting this great little bottle of wine for less than $30, and that's a great little deal. 95 points. I hope that wasn't me that gave it to him. 95. That was James Suckling. Dynamic aromas and flavors of yellow apples, hard pears, and lemon pith. White flower perfume hovers above with chalky minerality, providing posture. So much inner energy, drink or hold. '23 just came into stock. I buy it like 120 bottles at a time, and it goes out pretty quickly. It's really a go-to wine, and on my next time I'll order the higher end stuff to assort with this. But I do have the Pinot in the Santa Rita Hills and the higher end Pinot. You can see there's the $100 price tag for the higher end stuff. But, price per point, this thing is hard to knock out. And the higher end one is a few points higher, but got, significant more concentration, power, stuff like that. But not every day do I feel like having that. I think that's great for a special occasion, but this is like great just to knock the cobwebs off the day. Get the dents out. Yeah, a tasting area in the vineyard at the restored farmhouse. Gary, you've been there?
Yeah, I went there last summer.
Awesome.
Is the tasting rooms in Solvang the one that you showed on the video?
Yeah, that new tasting room is on.
Yeah, I've walked by it. It's too bad I didn't stop in. Hey, Ian, just aging potential on this thing. It strikes me as lovely, but a little tight right now. Do you get that?
Yeah, no, I don't get the. Oh, I like, I guess, the tightness, the crunchy.
Yeah.
But I don't think you have anything to worry about for 5 years on this.
Yeah, one. That's the thing. It feels to me like it would age.
Yeah, it will. It will, and it'll get probably even gain some weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that just like a youthful piece of fruit doesn't have as much flavor as it softens up. It kind of gets a little bit more everything about it, and wine will do that, especially this style. And I think she's just really nailed the style for the place. And I think that's, also I gotta give props. Tony Biaggi is the consultant standing behind her, and she will give him a lot of credit for where this wine has gone. Tony Biaggi is a really dynamic sweetheart of a guy, makes some amazing wines in Napa Valley. He was the name while Duckhorn was, really making stuff that everybody wanted and was selling out every year, and they sold Duckhorn and became a big investment firm, bought it, and they're doing really good stuff with it. But Tony Biaggi was there, and that one of the reasons why that brand had value and grew to what it was. And he was, had Paradox. He really parented that and brought it along. He did some really great stuff, and now he's got his own brands, and he's consultant for several clients. Really knows his stuff. So he thinks of himself more like a mentor than a consulting winemaker here. But they're nailing it. The wines are really nicely priced and beautiful, and I will continue to support. And the wine's just blowing through. So I'm glad you like it, Tom. Thank you so much. Gary, I hope you liked it even more. I think 23, by the way, 23 California, absolutely smashing wines.
Mm.
2023 is the best vintage in California since 1997. I remember in 1999 being out selling wines, and the 97 wines were coming into the market, and this I think the wine world needs a vintage like this too. I think we're going to see, it's going to take maybe another year, let's say a year from now, because the early arrivals are coming in, the early 23s, and they're still a little young. But by next year, almost everybody will be through their 22s into their 23s. Everyone's going to be looking for the 23s because they are going to be so gregarious, not like they're overripe or anything. They're just, there's something, some innate extra qualities to 23. I don't care what part of California you're in either, or what grape variety. They all have a 23ness about them. And that is really an important feature of, why, another reason why I picked this wine to be in this lineup is, hey, it's the 23. It's going to be great. And there's quite a bit of it. So we'll have a really good run at it. It just moved into 23, and hopefully, the economy continues to perform well for them, because I think they'll sell through it at a record rate, but still make it almost through the year. All right, I'm feeling good, feeling charged. Baseball's only a couple weeks away. I'm so jonesing for my daily little feed of baseball energy. I mean, every time there's like even a trade in baseball, like every podcast comes to life right now with a new show, and they just are all talking the same thing because we're all just grinding, waiting for our game to come back. I guess there's one more football game to be played, so we'll be talking baseball right after that. Get back in. I'm ready for wine number 3. All right.
Wow.
Here's something that
You don't see this every day.
Yeah. And if you did, you might not have seen anything that's quite this interesting either. Vignerons de Yura, Jurancon Sec. Where is it? It's down here in the south of France, basically like Basque part, like right on the border with Spain. Gentaro Yura. Maybe we ought to remember his name. He began his career in the restaurant business, trained in New Zealand, Burgundy, and Japan. Yes, he's Japanese. After spending time in Alsace, he figured out that Alsace was his calling, but he started making little pocket wines around France. %60 Gros Manseng or Manseng. Petite Manseng. Now, my brother-in-law lives in Charlottesville, Virginia, and Petite Manseng and Gros Manseng are the white grape of that marketplace. So when I saw this come across the wire, I don't get offered a Petite Manseng very often. And then I saw 97 points decanter. What? And then I saw the price. I was like, I gotta see this thing. And quite honestly, the package is great. It even looks better in person. It's very upscale. Now, Gros Manseng, one of the key varieties of the Jurancon region in southwest France, typically associated with sweet wine production. If you go and you found a Jurancon Blanc, it might actually even be pretty damn sweet. And in fact, this is a region where it's actually kind of common to drink your Jurancon sweet on the rocks. Just a nice, cold, refreshing drink. Very casual wine area. Of course, over time, some of these vines have gotten older. There's some better spots. And some of the winemakers aspire to do better. Not all, by the way. And not all of them try to go dry either. But very aromatic. Petit Manseng, same thing. Small berries, small quantities. Then the Gros Manseng, gros meaning big, petit meaning small. But those words in grape names don't always work out. Just ask Petit Syrah, which isn't petite, nor is it Syrah. So it's kind of the words sometimes don't make a lot of sense. But Petit Manseng, Gros Manseng, those are the varieties that are involved here. Very aromatic grape varieties, capable of making very sweet wines with lots of lemony type of aromatics with stone fruit. There is Gintaro Yura. Decadent aromas of mango, pineapple, orange peel, quince rustle over the sublime smoky wood character, ripe and rounded with a mesmerizing salve of acidity and a lengthy, mouth-watering finish, brimming with style and finesse. 97 points decanter. Very casual place to visit, very organic. The people there are just nice, hardworking farm to table types. $20. That's the good news. Bad news is that says I have 14. I'm not sure I do. And when it's gone, it's gone. It does say I have 14 left, so that's good. But you're the first time I've tasted it with anybody on the website. I started off with 36 bottles when I actually ordered it before tasting because of the price and the score. So I get the wine in the store and I'm like, holy sheezers, I really love it. I've taken it out to dinner a couple of times. And every time I take it out somewhere, somebody wants, give me save me 6 bottles. Give me this. I'm like, buy it before it's gone. If you like it, it's something a little different. It's definitely French. It's got wonderful acidity. It'll age for years. That is the most complex dry Jurancon that has ever been made. I think I can say that with confidence. It is gorgeous. Love everything about it. And the more bad news is that if and when this ever comes available again, it's probably going to be double the price. So this guy didn't have an importer. He found someone. They made a deal. He wanted to blow people up and get this out there. Maybe it comes back at a similar price. I will be all over it. But I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, petite and gros, just berry size. That's what they say. Yes. But as my example was, petite Syrah, those petite Syrah berries are enormous. And Manseng, yeah, my brother-in-law grows it in Charlottesville. You can smell it even in the neighborhood. It's just a very aromatic grape variety. Birds end up loving it, so you have to keep the birds out.
Do they do a dry style?
Yeah.
They're more
This, this is the dry.
right, but your brother in
Oh,
your brother's area.
yes, it is dry.
Okay.
Yeah, in Charlottesville. And my brother is he's a doctor and incredibly like I don't know, anal would be the way to describe it, but hyper on the task, A-type personality, does everything by the book, really clean. His wines are beautiful, and he wins awards every year for his winemaking. He's a small winemaker, like home winemaker. He doesn't sell his wine. It just enters it in some contests, and I think he wins like every single year in Charlottesville. He's also a good beekeeper customer. Next, it's actually 2 weeks from now. We're going to be doing the best in Pinot Noir. And it's doing quite well because, man, we picked some winners. The Pinot Noir selection is going to be amazing, and I've got lots of special guests coming to join us. So if you want to check out that list of Pinots we're going to be having are going to be incredible. The idea is to do just a few less Zooms and to try to put a little bit more energy and effort into them, get some more guests involved. And so we're moving it around. We'd love any suggestions you guys would have for some topicality that you're yearning for, maybe some wines you're yearning to taste. Please hit me up. I'm scheduled until April, but I haven't yet decided the topicality for the rest of the year. And we want to make this really fun for you. Also, just kind of not going to harp on it too much, but we do have now a membership program which goes through from January 1st to December 31st and gives you 10% off every day on the website. So you will get 10% off every Zoom, 10% off every wine. And I know a lot of the people that are on this Zoom are already members, so thank you guys. But you can pay for that on its own just by doing a few of these Zooms and a number of purchases. And when we looked at the data last year, a lot of you would fly by the $200 investment with a 10% off. It doesn't take a lot of wine to pay for that. So do take advantage, and we hope to really build that as a core part of our product going forward. There are Zooms coming up. Jump on board when you can. Some of them we will cap off. Usually 24 is kind of our max, and Pinot's getting pretty close to that. Gems of Southern Hemisphere, we may not make it. Southern Hemisphere's got some really great wines, but does everybody want to jump on those? We'll see. It's a really good price for the program, and the wines are going to be awesome. The benchmark white wines of the world, I love doing it from that approach because it really allows me to go from country to country, regardless of grape or place, and just show some benchmarks. And we carry that's what our stores really become great about carrying, are names that you want to find in the best restaurants in the world, benchmark wines, and that's what I'm focused on doing. Portugal north to south, we got another iteration of that. I got a bunch of new Portugal wines on the way. They'll be here in time for the event. And we also have a special guest coming to help us on this occasion. The wine event is priced. Looks like we are promoting these wines. Whether these are the actual final wines that we're tasting, we'll wait to see. But there'll be a couple of new wines coming on and included in this show. So when we post the wine, sometimes things happen. We sell all the wine, and we have to make a little adjustment, but we always go to a similar quality bottle of wine, and that's our promise to you. Law Estate. Let's get into the reds in a big and meaningful way, big way. This is This is always a winner. I'm not sure if any of you have been to Paso. Maybe you've been to, the beautiful Dow estate. Everybody talks about the beautiful view, and it's quite a scene, and people go there, hundreds of people at a time. Well, Law Estate is the very next hilltop over, and they don't let more than like 6, 8 people on the property at a time. Their view is equal. And the Law family moved to Paso, maybe it was 10, 15 years ago at this time. They did everything totally state of the art, top notch stuff. And they really focused on their winemaking facility and the way that they actually patented their winemaking facility because it's completely gravity flow, and you could buy the blueprint of what they did and literally put it in your city, your state, your country. So they've patented this winemaking facility, 100% concrete facility, and really sustainable and very high functioning. As a result, their wines are always getting blowout scores. They have an incredible winemaker named Philip Funder from Down Under. He is literally an Aussie who worked for some incredible brands around the planet. Is he Aussie or Kiwi? Oh, we'll find out in a minute. But he also worked at Screaming Eagle, and his resume is pretty damn impressive. But even before Philip came on board, they had a really incredible lineup of consultants working on this project. Some of the best in the business were there, and they really figured things out fairly quickly. They've been very consistent, and they have this gorgeous place that you want to go and visit, architecturally stunning, very raw and natural surroundings. Each wine that they make at Law has a name, and the wine that we're tasting tonight is the Audacious or the Relentless. Let me just make sure. I got to go all the way out to the end. Sorry, guys. It is the Audacious. So we're having Audacious. So they take, each wine is a composition, a spirit, an energy, a direction, and each blend will have a different kind of set of instruments taking the lead. And on this wine, it's Grenache and Cabernet. Now, Grenache being the primary player here, but the idea is to create something artistic and balanced, and really something maybe year to year that they can target in that direction. So there is a target in mind when they go to making these wines. These are estate wines. They do not buy fruit. They grow their own fruit. They have complete control, and it's so far been really, really consistent. Grenache, soft and jammy, rather structured, late ripening. Cabernet, tough tannic framework. Carignan, bountiful yields, high tannins, typically blended with other grapes, rarely made as its own, but that's starting to change a little bit. It's kind of a softer variety with pretty rugged tannin character, but can make wines really interesting, especially as they age. Carignan adds a really fun, earthy, dynamic, kind of raw, rugged, rustic character to the wines. A lot of the wines from the south of France feature Carignan. And of course, Syrah, which is a big player in Paso. And these guys are farming at a very high level. I believe they're certified at every level of the sustainability, California sustainability. They follow a lot of biodynamic practices. Organics is included. So tasting like a top Chateauneuf-du-Pape is the inspiration here. The 22 Audacious reveals red and black fruits, peppery spice, herbs de Provence, and loamy earth. Based on 35 Grenache, 31 Cabernet, 18 Carignan, and 16 Syrah, aged 22 months in 55% new French oak. So very significant wood presence because their fruit is really heavyweight outstanding. These wines have not really moved much on price point. They maintain their price very well. They sell through very quickly. People that go to Law Estate typically sign up for their mailing list, and they grow that at a pretty nice rate. Very little wine is available to me. I get, I just noticed someone was not on the Zoom. Hopefully you are now. Law Estate Audacious, 89 points, or 98 points, $89. And that is a great price, very close to what your best price would be at the winery, probably lower than other stores in town. And I got 6. What can I say? It's I think I get a case of each of these wines, or got a case of each of their wines this year. Some of them are gone already, but look on the website. You'll see a couple of bottles on each of the cuvées. If you're a fan of Law Estate, that is their last name. They are very successful oil tycoons from Colorado, and they had a nice exit and are able to do whatever the heck they want, and they want to make great wine in a very sustainable way. In Paso, they came in just ahead of the kind of a rush, and they bought just a magnificent spot. It's a great visit, and if you're listening to this Zoom and I can help you get a tour and tasting, it would be my pleasure. The team there and I go way back. And like I said, they've worked with some of the best in the business, and some of them are still there. So it's really kind of cool. $90. I didn't taste it yet. Yum, yum. 35 Grenache, 31 Cab. I love that nose. The nose is like sitting on a knife's edge. It's got all that power, and it's not too jammy. It's got right on that edge. It's ripeness. You got big character, sharpness, spice, all kind of sitting there. It makes your mouth water just smelling this beauty. Hard not to enjoy that. Great length, concentration, balance, intensity. Blinking off the scale. What you eat with Law? Well, I think this is, I've actually been kind of leaning into a protein diet right now. Trying to lose a few lbs, and the best way for me is to lean into protein. So I have got a steak waiting for me at home. Gonna throw it on the barbecue, about 6 to 8 minutes aside, medium rare kind of intended, and off the grill with a glass of this wine would be magnificent. Don't get to have much wine though on the low carb, high protein diet. Yeah, that a ribeye would be great. Alcohol by volume. I'm going to look at the bottle, but it's not that high. It's maybe in touching 15. but I think it wears it very well. Bottles are just a little bit out of reach at this moment, so give me until the end of this Zoom and I'll be able to answer that for you, Sandra. We're going to move into our next wine, and kind of the reason why these wines fit together is we got a Chateauneuf-du-Pape inspired wine from Paso, and then just an outstanding new find from France, from Chateauneuf-du-Pape. The brand Chateau de la Font de Loup is a very successful Chateauneuf-du-Pape producer. My friend Todd Alexander, he's my friend because he makes wine and I like him. And I don't know him, but he is the maker of Halocene. He came and tasted with us and showed us this gem, which is like a little teeny kiss of a side project that he made with Fontaloup. Chateauneuf-du-Pape, right next to Avignon in the southern Rhone, the Rhone River running north to south, Avignon down here, Chateauneuf-du-Pape right there. This is where the Pope moved in the 1400s. He blessed the land, thus it became the Chateauneuf-du-Pape. In the 1600s, after a couple popes came through, one of them was really rotten. They burned him out of town and they left the burnt castle on top of the hill for all to see and to remember. Be nice. Here is Fontaloup, and Anne Charlotte oversees the wine around the year. Todd is consultant on this project and he loves it. It's got a fantastic label. I'll talk about that more in a second. The soils, the exposition. The soils are just all this round stone that moved down from Northern Europe during the Ice Age. Glacial stones, so they're all rounded. They call them galets, and they are the foundation of the soils in Chateauneuf-du-Pape. The wine features old, really old vine Grenache. I am a fan of Chateauneuf-du-Papes that are very Grenache oriented, and he puts a small kiss of Syrah and Morvet. The nose of black and red berries, Garrigue, spice box, loamy earth, medium to full bodied, complex with ultra fine tannins, no hard edges, and a great finish. I think this wine actually is, it's a pretty ripe rendition of Chateauneuf-du-Pape. It has a very light color because of that Grenache predominance. I think it's 96% Grenache. I can't remember exactly. It might say that on the page. There's Anne Charlotte. Provocative nose of wild strawberry and plum compote. Sexy mouthfeel with voluminous, but nothing strays too far from the core of red and black fruits, fruit skins. But one does want to sit and study the nose. It's almost too daft to drink. Flowers, spices, herb garden, ? In time, the primary fruits may diminish, although they're stacked to the sky and revealed even more complex spice and pepper. I suspect it will be 5 to 10 years. This is so elevated and bespoke. I wanted everyone to try it and tell me what you think. I think it's the Goldilocks of Chateauneuf-du-Pape. Not too big, not too quiet, not too ripe, not too restrained. It pushes into plush pockets and yet has the zeal to fill in all the spaces in between. The focus of old vine Grenache is not lost, but elevated. In a word, fascinating. That was my review. Not too long after I reviewed that wine, others gave very similar scores. Maybe not the same description, but the scores were pretty close. And so I really I love this wine. I take it out to dinner often. People love the label. Todd bought that artwork and wrote the artist and said, "Would you mind if I used it as the label?" And the artist was very flattered and said yes. The painting is called Beatus. That is, I believe there's also Braille on the bottom of the bottle, which a lot of Chateauneuf-du-Pape producers have started doing. What do you guys think of the Beatus? I would love to know. And so I will go to you now.
I thought it was pretty amazing, Ian. It's I'm usually actually from what we've done in our tastings, I prefer the wines in the Northern Rhone over the Chateauneuf-du-Pape, but this is an excellent example.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really good.
I would not have guessed it's as young as it is.
I think you're right, and that's because
It's incredibly drinkable now, but I could have, for how young it is, there are no hard edges to this. It's a little more refined than the Law. It's a slightly more elegant wine. This is a pleasure to drink already.
great.
Yeah, this is really nice stuff.
And it's I do kind of get off on the fact that it's like probably the smallest Chateauneuf-du-Pape production that there ever was. I mean, it's like a 2-barrel. So it's so limited that it's kind of a little silly. If I'm not the only retailer that has it, it's probably me and the winery. I'm not sure, but it's teeny, it's glorious, and really good with food. Take it out often. And I do like it with a good hour in the decanter, and it's these little jars just do great.
My
I mean, the Law not only doesn't want red meat, but it wants it wants meat with a lot of fat in it still. Will it become less jammy over time? I mean, it's still this
The Law?
Yeah,
the
the Law.
or this one?
The Law.
Law is going to be the big California wine that it is. And
It'll stay that way for a while.
Yeah, because that wine is I told you earlier, it's in the 15s. It's 15.5.
Wow.
And I did an event yesterday in the city of Los Angeles for the wine trade, and I didn't have Law Estate there, but I had Saxum, and they were pouring the 22s, and I'm like, what is it about 22? Everything in 22 is just screaming. Like the fruit is just so and they're like,
This wants to be against very rich food.
Yeah, and so the 22 vintage, apparently the month of September was like the hottest September on record. And yet the grapes, while hot, when it gets too hot, grapes shut down. They don't keep ripening. So the sugars were going up, but the seeds were still green, and they were all frustrated as hell. Most of the people in 22, if they didn't pick at the end of October, they were picking into November. So the 22 vintage has got a healthy ripeness to it because it's sat on the vine for a really long time. And the problem is for them, not the quality suffered, but they did not make very much wine.
Oh, really?
their quantities
You're
were
talking about 22 now.
22 in Paso. They really lost a lot of quantity to the grapes like shriveling in the vineyard. And they had to let it get ripe though, otherwise it would be full of green aromas and it was not fun. They said 22 made us work way too hard. So appreciate 22s for that. The vintage on the Chateauneuf-du-Pape, I think somebody was asking a question. 23 vintage, and what was the question about the Chateauneuf-du-Pape? Maybe we answered it. Sandra, so yeah, 15.5 on the law. And I do agree that the Chateauneuf-du-Pape is I mean, it's a 23, you're right, but it's so pretty right now. It's hard to keep my hands off of it. Usually a wine like that, a 23 from some producers would be still too firm, too green, no fun, don't want to take it out. This one's really letting me do that. And so,
So, Ian, we need to get together in 10 years and taste those two wines again, side by side. Although I'm not sure I'll be alive, but you never know.
at this rate, neither will I. So it will better make it 5. Better
Yeah,
make it
okay,
5.
5 years. But the law just struck me as something that, oh my God, I need a really piece of meat with a lot of fat in it. Couldn't think of, and then you go to the Chateau de Pop and you go, okay, I could pair this with lamb or a dozen other things. Much more food friendly, in my opinion. The law was beautiful, but it's like, okay, I want to wait 10 years before I taste that again, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, totally. And
It's like,
I love lamb or maybe even salmon, and you could play a little bit of black olive type of a tapenade,
yeah.
play with those and
Little
really
bit almost like a Pinot from that standpoint, in terms of the overall, I don't know what you call it, but the depth of the wine. But it was quite a contrast with the law.
cool. We'll go back in for our final wine of the night. And of course, when we do these tastings, we always like to go in an order that makes a little bit of sense. We're going from the whites into the reds, and as big as the law is, I still think the Chateauneuf-du-Pape belonged kind of to break these wines up a little bit. But the final wine that we're going to have is a Cabernet. And it is from a small, teeny producer that I will have the pleasure of taking a group to introduce tomorrow. We're going to be up in the Napa Valley. We're going to start our incredible weekend up here. We're going to be going to this small producer's, Perliss is the name, Anthony Perliss. This is a wine called Pearl of the Ravens. The picture does not do it justice. This, let me grab the bottle. The bottle art is a little bit more like a bottle tattoo. It's hard to probably see it, but it's almost entirely around. It's a big raven with a pearl in its beak. Pearl of the Ravens. Now, the Perliss family moved to Napa Valley, but they're importers of amphora to the Napa Valley. And so they bought a vineyard where they live, and they hired my friend Aaron Pott. They're up in St. Helena. They have spots in Calistoga. They have a couple little vineyard sites. They're growing a couple different grape varieties, but they're really introducing a lot of amphora to the wines. So this is the volcanic soils of their vineyard site. Aaron Pott is not only the winemaker, but the vineyard manager. Really, really hands-on. And he has built something really special here. This wine is 100% Cabernet from the estate. It sees partial time in amphora and partial time in some wood barrel. And I believe that it's like 30% of the wine sees amphora and the rest is in wood. There's something special extra here. And I think Aaron is partly to blame, to give credit to, but it's also the amphora and the use of the amphora, which gives it just a little hint of oxidation, which is fun at the levels that we're at. And this says 80 amphora, 20 barrel. 97 points James Suckling. Brawny structure, savory tobacco, and mineral accents over black fruit, graphite, and espresso. Has plenty of stuffing for to age for years. Best from 2029. Well, this is another wine where, yeah, sure, it could go to 29, but I cannot keep my hands off of this wine. There's the site after picking. It is expensive, but when I go out with some of my baller friends and they're bringing $1,000 Bordeaux's and they love to drink red wine. This is going to be my choice because A, I know they've probably never tried it. B, it is fantastic. It always takes the prize at the table. I think the 97 point is a very good score, maybe even a little conservative. The color is magnificent, so dark. That nose is just so intricate and different. There's something really remarkably different about it. It's got kind of a cola, the graphite, he said. Tobacco, I like that note. Almost like a really nice fine cigar or walking into a humidor. And then the mouth is where I really, for me, it just like locks me up. I love the tannin play on this wine. This is a 2021. 2021 is outstanding quality. Aaron is a fantastic winemaker. He made wine in Bordeaux. He is not afraid of tannins. And this wine, yeah, you can feel some tannin there for sure. But it's just so delicious and really a standout wine at the table. Some people bring stuff that's super ripe, almost jammy. This will break right through. Anybody that loves, a little bit of Bordeaux edge will appreciate this. It's so different because of that amphora use that I really think it's quite inspired. The label is really badass. The waiter at the last table we were at was so enamored with the bottle, he asked if he could keep it. It does wrap all the way around the bottle. It's pretty impressive. So tomorrow starts my trip to Napa. We got this really cool appointment with Karen McNeil, the author of the Wine Bible, and that's going to set the tone off. It'll be hard to beat. We even have some special guests joining us for meals that I didn't announce, so that's all going to be really cool. My next really badass trip is just getting better by the day, is our trip to Champagne. and I'd love for you to jump on board and join us. We've got the right type of to find it. You go to Wine Travel, go to November, and you'll see our trip to Champagne. And we have been working hard on the houses, trying to get the right houses involved. Bellicart, Tattinger, Ruinart, Laurent Perrier, Clos Casals, having lunch at Celos, Michel Gonnet, Delama, and it's that TBD that I can't wait to announce. But we're working hard on that one. It's one that we may or may not even be allowed to market, so we're kind of keeping our lips tight on that one. But we've got a detailed tour of the cathedral in Reims. We'll be staying at the #1 hotel in Champagne, and our group will be upgraded to junior suites, I think is what we negotiated. So check it out. And it is a premium trip, but I think getting to France anymore for less than $2,000 a day is going to be tough at a luxury level. The hotels have really gotten expensive. And we're going to eat some amazing, food and really drink some of the very best. And all the lunches are included. So super cool. Check out that trip if you want to come with me. We only take 10, by the way, on this one. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed. It was really fun to taste these beauties. And I'm even feeling good about it because I just tasted them with you, and I feel exactly the same way about these wines as I did before we started. Gary, always great to have you, sir. Thomas, thank you. Sandra, thank you. Lisa, good to see you. Amy, how are you?
Good, good. Getting ready for a wedding. Not mine.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Did you get your champagne?
It's coming. It's coming. Thank you so much for your help with that.
You got it. Thank you. Love to be your champagne pimp.
Uh, Anytime, Ian. Every time I need a champagne pimp, you will be my first call.
Thank you so much. Tig, thank you so much for all your support, man. You've
Some
been
some yummy stuff, and I'd never had any of the wines we had tonight.
awesome.
The
Fun stuff. We'll do it again. Take care.
Beatus was really loved that, and the Santorini wine, because I can tell you when we were there, quote, good Santorini wine was still pretty. There was
Hard
still
to
a bit
find.
of there was still a bit of shall we say tinges of petrol there.
Yeah, yeah. No, those days are behind us now. But well, in the spirit of my Dodgers, we're two weeks away from the season beginning. I don't think the Dodgers can even fit another great player on the team if they wanted to. So I'm super excited to see what happens. It's almost one of the scary part is if it doesn't happen, that's where you start to get a little scared because it looks so good from back here on paper. And now they just got to execute. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm so excited to have baseball back in my life very soon. And I thank you guys for being here and go Dodgers.
Thanks, Ian.
Take care.
I'm out of the country, leaving in a few days for a couple of weeks. See you at the next dinner. Bye.
Take care, dude.